Okay, living with a father that has cirrhosis of the liver. Well, living is operative word. I don't live with him. I have not lived with him since I was 4 years old. My father has not been in my life basically off and on my whole life. I've tried having him in my life, but he chose otherwise. I have a brother who's also my brother, who is 27. He never really had my father in his life either. My daddy was always concerned more about drinking beer, drinking whiskey, or doing whatever, and not even thinking twice about how he had 2 children that meant something to him. Granted, he helped create my brother and I, but it's just like a slap in the face when you get a phone call in the early morning hours on a Sunday when you're supposed to be sleeping in because you have work the next day. And it's from your aunt who you hardly speak to, and she tells you that your father is really sick and he's going to have to go to the hospital. And then the doctor diagnoses him as having cirrhosis of the liver. I've always thought something would happen to my daddy. I always did. But I guess, you know what? I don't know. I never really had him there. Like I said, he wasn't ever there when I got my heart broke when I was younger, or if I just needed a hug. But granted, I had my mother. She's been there. She's always been there. And the real concept of all this is that just because my daddy has cirrhosis of the liver doesn't mean that I can't have a future with him if he allows me to. I'm hurting inside knowing that my daddy has really not been there for me and my brother, and a lot of wrongdoings that he did when my mom and him were married. I really don't know how to feel, and I don't know what to think of it all, other than the tears come like floods. Maybe it's because I know I always wanted my daddy's love, but he never gave it to me. I always wanted a beautiful wedding one day with my daddy walking down the aisle. But, you know, who's to say that'll ever happen? God only knows that. I'm not a religious person, but I do have my faith. And I know whatever the outcome of all of this is, when my dad having cirrhosis of the liver, if he changes his lifestyle or he doesn't, because it's that severe that he could die, that I will have a beautiful life. And I hate the fact that I lost my daddy over the years growing up. But now I have my daddy at 24 years old, and he is sick. It's just a lot of words, and I'm just rambling on, but I just don't understand how alcohol can consume someone as much as he did him. I didn't even start drinking until I was like 23 rather. Maybe I was 22. And I don't even drink that much because I never wanted to be an alcoholic. I always feared that if I drank, then, you know what, Mandy, she'd go alcoholic that quick. But no, I don't know. I mean, I don't think my dad understands that he's sick. I mean, he understands. I mean, you know, he's lived a lonely lifestyle since my mother and him divorced when I was 4 years old. That was 20-something years ago. And, you know, he's always been a lonely old man. He's never cared much, like I said, about my brother and I being in his life. But the thing is, we're here now, and he is also. So that means I can only live for my future on out. I don't know. You know, over the years, I've dated people, okay, or I've dated men, rather, that have been in their 30s, you know, and then it hit me that I guess maybe somehow I was searching for all the love that my father never gave me into these men. Not to say I've been with a lot of men, but now I have someone who is younger than me and who turns my life all around into so much joy and so much happiness that I finally found that one that I can see, and he can also, a marriage and children involved. I never thought it would happen to me, and you know what, it did. And the beauty of all of this with my dad being sick is that nobody ever knows their future, of where God's going to put them, if they're going to one day die or not. But my daddy, I don't know. Like I said, he's never really been there much for me, but I can only say this. I love my boyfriend more than I thought I could love someone. I thought I'd been in love before, but I was dead wrong. And now I'm dead on in love with someone, okay? It drives me up the wall that someone so special as Sean, who's over in Iraq, can put so much impact into my life and make me feel so much better about myself and bring so much joy into my life, that my own father over the years was not there to help me through some of the hardest points in my life. But the real deal here is, life is precious and nobody knows. But what I do know is, I'm going to carry on with my life and I'm going to keep going. And if something happens to my daddy, then I will just have to get there whenever I get there. I can't dwell. I can only live each second to each moment of my life.